Welcome to the Human Design Rave Festival 2025.
Welcome, welcome everyone who's joining to the session with Jakub. I
Hey,
think
welcome
everyone,
everybody.
I think everyone who wanted to be in is in. So I'm officially welcome you, Jakub, to share with us your magic. And those of you who don't know, I think there's no people in. But anyways, Jakub is an incredible teacher who teaches all the levels of the professional analyst and beyond, pioneer in Central Europe. Also my teacher, one of my teachers. And I'm so glad to have you with us also this year. Mm, the stage is yours. Welcome, welcome.
Okay, well, thanks, Julia. This is lovely. I'm really blown away by the organization and the whole event. It's great to be here. Welcome everybody that's here. I see a lot of people, some of the names I recognize. This is exciting, and uh, we're just let's just have some fun with human design. I think that's important, and let's have a look at it. So I'm going to share the presentation, and so this is what I wanted to talk about today. Let me just okay, here it is. Here we go. Just make sure that I can draw with my iPad. Perfect. So my topic for today is called definition priorities and keynoting your superpowers. Now this is a fun way of looking at the chart. And let me just take you to it. And I'm gonna present and show some charts and do some examples. And then towards the end, I think we'll have time to open up the mic for your questions and maybe look at some of your charts and do the same kind of a exercise that I'm gonna be doing with your charts. So just briefly about myself. I am a 2-4 manifesting generator in human design since 2006. I've done many readings and guided many students through all kinds of courses. And I've been teaching human design, living your design since 2010, and other courses gradually onwards. I taught for Human Design America since 2015. And I also want to invite you to my website where, after I think like 15 years, I actually changed something. It was so outdated. And I've uploaded a whole bunch of videos and recordings there for you for free. So you can have a look at humandesign.net. And this is my chart in case you're wondering. And this is my birth time. You'll have it in the recording. So we can just get into it. Now, when you look at the chart, there are always very clear and distinct priorities. Now, sometimes it's not exactly like you can pinpoint exactly what is more important than what, but in most cases you can be fairly precise in looking at a chart and saying, hey, there are certain things that are really priority in this chart, and it would be a good idea to pay attention to these priorities. And the first channel in terms of looking at definition, meaning channels, the first channel to look at is the one that defines the authority center. Okay, so I just want to emphasize this idea that whatever defines the authority center in the chart is really important because that's where your authority is. This is where your decision-making authority is. Now, uh, that's almost always the priority in terms of definition, in terms of channels. Why do I say almost always? Well, simply because whenever you make a rule, there's always going to be an exception to the rule, all right? But in most charts, if you look at the channel that defines the authority center, that's the priority in your design. And everything, it's like a pivot, it's like a spine. Everything kind of hangs around it. This is like that's the central theme. And of course, we can look at the incarnation cross gates, the sun and earth on both sides. And they obviously they represent the essence of who we are and what we came here to do. But we can only live them correctly as long as we respect the energetics of our priorities in our design. And in other words, we only get to live our incarnation cross if we follow the strategy and authority and these energetic priorities as they are outlined in our chart. On one hand, we do it, we live our design even without knowing human design. And on the other hand, it really helps to know human design and to be aware of it. So that's what I want to do today. Just have a look at this, uh, have a look at a chart from this perspective. Like what are the priorities and how we can keynote them. It's not a definitive take. Uh, Nowhere near, it's just a fun way to be looking at charts and fun way to actually be noticing the priorities in your design. And, as we observe these priorities, we can keynote them and just really have fun in the process, of doing that. So let's, um, and I asked, you know, Julia and Julia, if there are some important questions while I speak, they're going to read them for me. Otherwise, I'm going to look at it once I'm done presenting, and then I'll invite the questions. But if there are some, things along the way, they maybe read it. So here is a chart of actually another Julia. This is Julia Roberts, and I used it in the brief preview. Maybe you've seen that. Just to say that, okay, so we've got these four channels in the chart over here. And obviously the authority is in the solar plexus. So obviously this channel of mating, design focused on reproduction, or in other words, the channel of intimacy is really the priority here. And then, very closely second is the preservation, the custodianship. Now, what does it mean? It means that everything this person does needs to come from this very deep, intimate connection with either the project or the people that she's involved with, right? So unless, she's involved in a project or in a relationship or whatever, from this place of deep, intimate connection, it's not gonna give her any satisfaction, really, because she's after that deep, intimate connection. Also, not only intimacy being the nickname of this channel, but connection being the nickname for response, right? The life force is connecting with something that comes from outside. So that's priority number one. And I mean, in this chart, we can actually see it very easily also in terms of like split, because we've got triple split and the other two islands of definition follow behind. The next one would be anything below the throat. And here we have the alpha channel. And then finally, we go into the mental realm, and that's the abstract channel, abstraction, mental activity mixed with clarity. So what do I make out of that? I would say that, in order to really be satisfied, firstly, she needs to uh, wait to feel who or what is it that she is connecting with deeply. And then with that project or with these people, she can be the custodian and somebody who stands up and defends the life, the defense circuit. And she is using her alpha channel for that purpose. So she's leading other people that she's close with to stand up for the right values. And she's using all her understanding of the past as a way to share um, maybe some stories or whatever, so that she gets people on board, so that they really are closely together working for uh, defending the world, the life. That's a big part of what the defense circuit is about. So looking at these four channels over here, just for example, this identity connected to the throat. It's very talkative. It has so many things to say. Any channel that is G to the throat, we've got four channels that connect G center to the throat center. They really talk a lot. They talk, sometimes they talk more than people with an open throat. They really, really have a lot of things to say. It's the identity that wants to be expressed, you know. And yet,
This is Julia
if
Roller. Yeah.
yeah, and yet if she just goes with that, without taking time to feel whether she's really connected with the issue, with the topic, or with the person, with the project. If she just starts to be the leader, the alpha, leading people and telling them how to get where they need to get, without actually being really deeply connected with the issue, with the topic, it's not going to work. I mean, she could be a great leader, but it's not going to bring her any satisfaction unless she's really deeply connected with it. Or she could be just, you know, saying her point of view, like with the abstract channel, these people see something happens and they've got like 17 versions of what's happened. It's like it's been like that, and then there is all this activity, and then the clarity comes like, oh, and they really get some realization, eventually. Again, she needs to share it in response when emotionally clear. So you can see how this strategy and authority is always like the golden grail, and all the things line up in a certain order. This is the priority number one, and the alpha channel is working in service of these two channels here, and especially the intimacy channel, which is the most important one. So let me give you more examples in different charts so that you get more of a sense of what I'm talking about. Here we have a generator with the discovery channel of discovery, design of succeeding where others fail. So this is a person that like needs to give their all, everything they have into whatever it is they do. This is like somebody who's totally committed, the gate of saying yes, 29, all this dedication going on, gate 46. That's priority number one. And also it's priority number one simply because it's the only sacral channel. Obviously, it's got to be priority. So in terms of her being, or I don't know if it's a woman or a man, in terms of them being a sacral generator, they're only ever going to be satisfied if they make their commitment in response, and then they'll stick to it and give it their all. Now, there is another channel over here, which is called the channel of struggle, design of stubbornness. And it's very easy for this person to, you know, in the not self, to prefer this channel rather than this one. So instead of waiting waiting to respond, they may just jump into some kind of struggle and pick a fight because they feel that somebody's threatening their individuality, or feel that, I know it really is important that I'm gonna like make it my own way, and just do it like that. But unless they respond first, unless it's within the larger context of what they've responded to already, unless it's within the larger context of their commitment and dedication, the struggle in and of itself is going to be meaningless. And it's actually not going to bring them satisfaction. It's going to bring them just a waste of time and energy, right? So the struggle works for, it's like, it's one of the ways you can look at it. The struggle works for the discovery channel. So it's like this person is struggling to discover how to succeed, either where others fail or together with other people. Like these channel names were given by Ra-Uru, who was a manifester. As we know, manifestors are lone wolves, but generators really are here to work with other people together. So, it doesn't have to be just succeeding where others fail. It could be succeeding together with other people, right? So this person is struggling, but not struggling just in general. It's struggling to find a way through their dedication and commitment to succeed. And then here comes the third channel in terms of priorities, the channel of acceptance, design of organizational being. And we can look at it as another ingredient in the mix. Again, this mind is ready to talk. It's like like you meet this person immediately, they have all these opinions that they want to share and all these details that support them, and they can go blah, blah, blah. But, it needs to come from a deeper place of response. It needs to come from this felt sense of response, this energy rising up, making a commitment, basically what the whole generator gig is all about. And then from that response, when they commit and they are dedicated, committed, and dedicated, within that larger context, they can use their organizational skills to really succeed, to really make it, or maybe even to share their success with others and share their organizational uh, opinions with others to help other people to succeed. Why not? But they need to be connected with it. It's not separate. We're looking at the chart and we see all these little numbers and these channels, and of course, to understand it, we need to learn it in steps, but it all works together. And despite it all being like unified and working together, there is a clear priority, and the priority, as I said, is usually in the channel that defines the authority. So it's not just struggling in and of itself, it's struggling in order to succeed. It's organizing in order to succeed, struggling to organize so that we can succeed together, right? And then, of course, we can play with more keynotes from the chart. We can definitely always add in the incarnation cross gates into the mix and have more fun with it. But just in terms of definition, there is a clear order of priorities, and it's just good to realize that for ourselves, that if I just start talking about all kinds of opinions that I have, or if I just start struggling for something or against something, no matter how I feel it's important, doesn't always work, right? So another chart, even more simpler here. We have two channels: mutation, format channel, which is super important. These format channels between root and sacral really format your energy for, everything that happens is kind of happening within that format energy. We have the mutation channel, the individual mutation going through changes, limitations and changes, gate 60, gate 3. And then we have curiosity and seeker. So again, this person can just shoot their mouth and be curious and seeking something, always on and on and on, and want to, stimulate the storyteller and stimulator, gate 56, stimulate other people with their white magical ideas, that can bring peace and harmony, gate 11. Why not? But it's only ever going to work for them if it's happening within the larger context of them going through changes, mutative changes, really changes in uh, in their life that bring them more empowerment. So this is a clear priority over here. So we can say, in response, you can go through mutative changes. And since gate 50, and I'm going to just kind of borrow that from the incarnation cross, is the gate of values. So you can grow through mutative changes in order to mutate the values in the world around you. Okay. And part of how you bring these mutative changes in the world is that you get other people curious about what it would be like to go through these changes, what it would be like to experience this level of growth and empowerment. Basically, get them on board by, getting them interested and curious and making them seek it, right? That's how you get them on your side so that they stand up for the right values that you're establishing, for the new values you're establishing, right? So I hope this is this is somewhat clear what I'm sharing, and it's like if there are questions, I trust Julia will read them. I have a couple more charts, and then we can look at some of your charts. And look, this is a projector chart, and I chose one where we can still see the curiosity channel, the seeker, and yet here we don't have mutation, but we have judgment, insatiability. Now, not only is this person seeing everything that's wrong in the world around them. They have this vital, electrifying, joyful energy that wants to stimulate other people to really see it as well and correct it and make the world a better place. Now, it's a projector. So there is a dilemma in there, which is like, yeah, you can see it straight away with your splenic authority. It doesn't mean you're meant to do something about it straight away. You're obviously waiting for the invitation, for the recognition, for the right opportune moment or opportunity, we could say. I mean, the fourth line in the profile. So it's not that the person needs to be asked by somebody else. It can be in a situation that invites you to actually share your observations. Whatever it is, if you do it from the place of invitation and from the place where your spleen, your authority, in this case, we would speak about instincts. If your instinct gives you the go ahead, like, yep, that's the right opportunity for me to bring it up. I wanted to tell him or tell her for a long time, but it wasn't coming up. Now is the right moment for me to bring it up. Then not only will you get attention and the recognition of the person you're speaking with, or people maybe, but you can also again get them on board and get them on your side in terms of like, let's make a world a better place by sharing all these curious ideas in this very captivating, stimulating way that the channel of curiosity, the design of a seeker can do. But if you just go, sharing all the things you're curious about, you'll never actually get a chance to really fix something vitally important for you to correct in the world. So again, you can see the priority is outlined the in the channel that defines the authority center. Here we have a splenic authority. This channel of judgment and insatiability is just like it can't get enough of making the world a better place. And yet, we know open sacral, not knowing when enough is enough, you actually need to have some, awareness of when you're invited to do it. Now, when you're invited, then part of the way, part of how you guide other people to correct the world around you is that you get them curious about, hey, wouldn't it be great if these things were fixed, if they work better? Let's find a way. And it can be something they do together, or it can be just something that the person does for someone else. It can be a part of how they guide somebody else, like how, because they recognize somebody needs something in their life. And when the right moment comes up, they go like, and they share something. And it's the aura talking. It's like you can learn to be a public presenter if you go to some school of public presenting. But, if you have it in your design, you don't need to be learning it. It's like if you have it like this in your design, the aura does the work. It's like the energy is there. And in the right moment, it just carries and you really get them curious. You really make them want to find the way to correct something in their lives. So, you know, in response and when okayed by your, instincts, you can get other people curious how they can correct and improve their life. And if you wait to be invited, that's how you get to be successful as a projector, right? That's how you get to live your signature. So again, just, playing with things in the chart, playing with priorities, playing with keynoting. A couple more charts. Now, this is an example where you see that there is one island of definition where obviously this is the priority number one and it's tribal. Both of these channels are tribal. So, sensitively working together in the group, so that you support them and they support you. We're close, we're friends, we celebrate, we hug, we shake hands, we touch. This is the tribal, you know, uh, uh, sensitive emotionality. And then, okay, inspiration, a whole different deal. Individual channel of, somebody who's like so creatively inspiring that they are a creative role model for other people. And then another different flavor. This is a collective logic, somebody who's very logical. Now, again, going back to, the structure or the priorities that I'm speaking about, sure, this person is logical and sure they can be super creative, but it's got to serve a larger purpose. It's got to serve the larger needs of their community. So, they're inspiring their community to come and work together so that everybody's needs are met. And they're bringing their corrective logic, their logic about, hey, is this really the best way to do it? Or how about doing it that way? Asking all these questions and answering them, the 63, 63-4, the logical channel, again, in service of getting people work together, becoming part of something larger, part seeking a whole, right? So uh, these channels are there, but the priority obviously is always here with the authority. This is secondary, just a rule of thumb. Anything below the throat is where the life is. Anything above the throat is the mental realm. It's also important, but in terms of priorities, like G to throat is obviously where I would go next. Uh, of course, there can be exceptions, like if 63 would be in the incarnation cross, then for some reason, that might be more important. But anyways, we know everything is ultimately important. So why do we do that? Well, we do that so that we kind of like remind ourselves, you really need to wait to be clear about this invitation. You really need to be clear about your own needs. Don't jump into things. If you don't take time as an emotional being, if you don't go on the wave, you don't even know what you really want, and what needs of other people you should reject or accept. And if you do, then it works. Then you can really, get them involved and, make them fulfill their promises and so on and so forth. So playing with keynotes. Again, the community channel, but here we have two channels defining the solar plexus. It's a manifestor design. Now, in this case, this I would probably say 36, 35 is a bit more important just in terms of, potentially getting them into more of a trouble. Uh, this is obviously the conscious definition, so they're more connected with, them being a tribal communal beings. But this channel 36, 35, this is where they go into all kinds of adventures. And so waiting to be clear, not really an easy job for a manifester, by the way. If there are any emotional manifestors here, I empathize. You're wired to go ahead, you're not wired to wait. And actually, in doing readings for manifestors, I avoided the word wait as much as I can. And I usually use substitutes in terms of like, well, if you can just give your emotions more time to really feel clearly what is it you feel, and then you inform and go ahead and initiate, because manifestors were kind of conditioned to wait. So, in the name of liberating them, telling them 17 times during the reading that they need to wait for emotional clarity, it's kind of questionable. Of course, we can say that, but just know it's really not for them to wait. So, but explain it. Well, if you take time, you'll clearly feel which adventure you want to go on, what really is working for you and what isn't, right? Now, if you, and this channel is funny in terms of, well, maybe not funny, but in terms of like if you get involved with something, you can get out of it until the pattern runs its course. So I like to speak about it as a as these bullet trains, like between Paris and London. I don't know how many stops are there along the way, maybe two, I don't know. But it's like if you get on the wrong train, you can't get off in the next village. It doesn't stop after another 15 kilometers. You may have to travel, half of France before you can get out of the train. So it's like it takes you for a journey. So really, it really works for you. It really helps if you are at least reasonably clear. If you clearly feel, then okay, then you go on a journey. Then you learn all kinds of things. You become the jack of all trades. You share all that experience with your community. You bring progressive changes, Gate 35, progressive changes to other people as you impact them. And then you can use, again, the organizational channel, the organizational being in service for your community, in service for bringing the progressive changes into the world. So, um, And here we have the openness and social being, another manifestor channel. So we have like this person really needs to be in the right mood to communicate, to say something. They may actually, sometimes even not say something for quite some time. But when in the right mood, you can structure your understanding of the past and be supportively dominant in order to bring breakthrough, mutation, and metamorphosis in other people. To be somebody who brings a new openness to the world and opens other people up so that then they can go through their crises and conflicts as you support them in that, for example, because that's a big part of their journey, this crisis and conflict here. So what I'm saying, again, there are priorities. Structuring, but what? Structuring just in and of itself? No. Structuring and bringing breakthrough insights when in the right mood so that this person can open other people up. And of course, it all works together, but this needs to come first. This feeling of, right, the time is right. The time, I feel in the right mood to do that. I'm moved. I feel it. And I'm gonna go ahead and say something, and my energy is gonna do its thing, and I'm gonna open somebody to a new thing, to a change, to mutation in their life, to that leads to empowerment. And yeah, so you know, when emotionally clear, you can go ahead and open other people up in order to bring structured understanding and support everybody around you as you assert your we could say dominance in a positive way, as you are the king or the queen of your tribe, and that impact you bring really changes something in their lives. And when you observe it, you get to be at peace because you see that you've done enough, and then you can retreat and rest more as a manifestor should, right? Uh, Last chart over here, MG. Now, this is a funny one. This is kind of archetypal, I would say, and not only because it has the channel of archetype, but by the way, I found in my experience when somebody has the channel of archetype, they are an archetypal example of something. Now, this is kind of an archetypal example of something that we struggle with, most of us, anyways. This is, a combination of community over here. We want to belong. And at the same time, the other three channels that are so fiercely individual, that are so about, I'm going to be myself in the world, do my own thing, no matter what. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'll be my own thing. And yet, there's this part that really wants to belong, right? And how do you reconcile the dilemma? Well, only by waiting to be emotionally clear. Because the 3420, the charisma just wants to charge ahead and just it's in the words of my teacher Genoa Oblivion, it's a Superman on cocaine, 3420 with an open route. It's like I have similar design, so I know very well. It's crazy sometimes. And yeah, but the only thing that actually works to resolve the mess of constant initiating is if you take time to be clear, because then when you are clear, then you can go ahead, then you can be charismatically, powerful and share your unique penetrating awareness, you know, and bring changes to community and be part of the community, always maintaining your individuality. This is going to be somebody who's probably really going to struggle between everybody leave me alone and I need to belong somewhere. And none of these extremes is right. They need to find the right mix, and that's going to happen through being emotionally clear. As you wait to be emotionally clear, you get to experience that you're part of something larger than you are, and yet you're always individual, and you don't lose your individuality. As Ross said, It is the destiny of human beings to rediscover unity through communication, right? So the five-centered beings, they lived in this kind of a dream-like unity, Neanderthals. And the seven-centered beings, it was all about me, individuality. And the nine-centered beings, here we are, very individual and yet potentially being able to be not only in harmony with ourselves, unity within, but also rediscovering this unity with other people out there. Julia, how many minutes do we have? How much time do we have?
10 more
We
minutes
have
to
it,
go.
yeah, exactly 10.
10 minutes. Okay. So we can, if there are some questions, we can have a look at it. And,
Yeah, we have one question. Interesting that in many charts, the Sun, Earth are not connected to their sacral channel. You just stay connected.
okay. Well, that's not how I was choosing them. It just happened to be. So you mean like what? That the sun and earth is not part of the channel that defines the sacral center, for example. That's yeah. So see, this is the thing. Like we, of course, we know the incarnation cross is why we're here. Ultimately, this is what we're here for. But we don't get to live it until we live the characteristics of our chart, and we live until we get to live our definition, the strategy and authority. And only then these things come online. And you can have a chart where all four gates of the incarnation cross are in an open center. It's not that unusual. So that happens, yeah. Who else is there raising their hands? Suna? Hi. We don't hear you. You're muted. We don't hear you. And still muted.
Okay,
Okay.
now
There you are.
works.
Hi.
Hi. I don't know if you see me. I can only
Yeah,
see
I
you.
see you.
I don't see the group. I was wondering, how do I show you my chart? I have never
Well, you
done
give
that
me
before.
your birth data, and so give me your birth time.
Okay, the 30th, 4th, 59.
30th of April, 1959, yeah.
Yeah, birth time 0046.
Okay, 4/6, and where?
Switzerland, Adelboden. Adelboden. Adelboden.
Switzerland. Can I just do Zurich? It's gonna be the same time zone, it
No,
doesn't matter.
Bern. Then do Bern.
Bern, okay. Okay, that's gonna be, okay, there we go. And I'm gonna just share your chart here,
Okay.
and everybody will be able to see it, including myself. So, any questions?
Yeah, keynoting.
Okay. Well, all right. So look, so you've got this very fiercely individual channel which is provoking the spirit in other people, provoking the abundance and empowering them through that provocation. That's obviously the priority over here. And then we've got this other two islands of definition. We have the perfected form, 1057, the channel, the design of survival, and then 2145, which is obviously the money line, or as I like to use the nickname, the channel of control. It's about really being the materialist, but also about really educating other people. So
Right.
like you're educating other people in order to provoke the spirit and the rise in the spirit. And we lost your video for some reason, but I can still hear you.
Yeah, that's funny
And
because that was always my aim to
yeah,
get people to lift up their consciousness. That was my only
yeah.
aim.
And you bring the perfected form in service of the spirit and abundance. I mean, it
Mm,
all works together, obviously, but when emotionally clear, and obviously you're a manifestor, when emotionally clear, you can go ahead and assume supportive dominance that perfects the form and is deeply provocative for others and empowers them to be more of themselves. Uh,
right.
but obviously, it's not going to work if you just go ahead in order to be in control. Like you really deep, like this deep priority over here is like taking time to really clearly feel. And as you take time to feel, you can take time to actually inform as well. So that's really something for you. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, toughest form, but I'm at it. I give my
Okay.
best.
Yeah. Good luck.
To
So let me
to
just go
wait
back
for
to my
my.
presentation. I think we're basically at the time limit. Julia, is that it?
Thank you.
We have six
Welcome.
more minutes.
Oh,
So
six
we
more minutes. Okay. Okay. So who else is there?
we have two raising hands and we have a bunch of questions also in the
So
chat.
yeah, Ineka, let's go to you. Oh,
Hi.
Spanic manifestor. Okay.
Yes, another manifestor going first.
Okay.
Jakub, I have a question. So I'm a single definition,
Mm-hmm.
and all my channels are going straight to my authority. So I don't know which one to
Yeah, well,
prioritize.
give me your birth time.
Oh, it's 10th of July,
Okay.
1987,
10th of July,
87,
1987. Okay.
3:15 p.m.
Okay. And where?
Belgium, whatever, Bruges.
Okay. Wherever. It's gonna be the same time zone, so that's
Yeah, it
fine.
is. It is.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I mean, just in terms of priorities, well,
Yes.
it's there's so much going on. Let's take a look at the incarnation cross, 50, 53, 54, 51, 57. Hey, 57 seems like the most important in terms of like, because you've got all these channels that define this planic
Yeah, and it's
center.
not really correct. Like, I don't know if you see it. I have it here.
Yeah,
Like the 5710 is on your chart, but I don't have it.
yeah, but you have 5720.
Oh yeah, PM. Yeah,
I don't
PM,
know. I
like
don't
in
know
the
how to
afternoon.
make it
That's
different
the
because yeah. Yeah. So, 5720 would be the channel that I go for
okay.
is like the most important. But anyways, it all works together. So it
Mhm.
all like for you, it all works as long as you go with the first impulse. If you don't wait, if you don't think about it, if you just go with the first thing that comes, then you're gonna, bring penetrating awareness, this brainwave in order to you're gonna sell this brainwave in order to fix that which doesn't work in the world. It's all gonna work at the same time simultaneously. All you have to do is to overcome that fear that you're gonna be annoying to other people, that you're gonna be because you always rock the boat as a manifestor. You're always bringing this element of surprise that's always hard to overcome for others. So, it's important for you to overcome the fact that you have big impact on them and just go with the first thing that comes and see what happens. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I
Thank
would
you.
say. All right. Welcome. Julia, are there maybe one question you want to read from the text before
Right.
we
Can you talk about how the 34 third line machismo can be the true self versus not self for the manifesting generator?
well, sometimes you just have to define your role. Sometimes you just have to project power and just don't budge, and it can be totally fine and correct if you do it at the right moment. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay,
So,
then
yeah, one more.
there is one fun one. If my chart only has one channel, 2551, does the keynoting become easier? Am I boring?
Well, you can include the keynotes from the incarnation cross and everything works together ultimately. So, but of course, in terms of priorities, that's the priority, obviously. That's the priority. Like you've got an ego authority and depending on your type, it works. In closing, I just want to say, this was just for kind of fun to look at, okay, what is the priority in your design? To understand that in most cases, it really is the channel that defines the authority and that you can play with keynoting these channels together to keynote, what I called keynoting your superpowers because it sounds so awesome when you put it all together. And so for that reason, I made this presentation. I want to say there is a free library of videos and audios at humandesign.net, including quite a few videos that were part of my Living Your Design course. That was a paid product for many years, and I just made them available for free. It's there on my website. You can also get a reading with me, and if you want to study human design, I definitely recommend checking out humandesignamerica.org. So that's it from me for this topic, and thanks for your attention and being here. Hope you had fun.
Yeah, thank you, Jakub, for showing up and sharing this art of keynoting, which will also continue today in just a couple of hours, and supporting our project.
Yeah, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Thank
Okay.
you. And in just a few minutes, we're gonna go into the projector panel. So stay tuned.
Bye, everybody.
Welcome to the Human Design Rave Festival 2025.